Thank you, Jock, and thanks to the Platinum Group for putting together this great event. Good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon.
It's good to be back here at Arlington Grove. It doesn't seem that long ago that we were here celebrating a groundbreaking ceremony. And praise be to God, we're here about a year and a half later to celebrate a ribbon-cutting ceremony. So God is great, is he not? So we're here to celebrate a 112-unit, $34.8 million addition to the 22nd Ward of the City of St. Louis. That's a lot of money by anybody's calculation. Developments like this just don't happen by accident. They take tremendous leadership and cooperation at all levels, federal, state, and local governments. And we're very lucky and privileged to have a representative in Washington, D.C. who fights tirelessly for the creation of new mixed-income housing in our community. He has supported developments like this all over the state, in our community, and he is a tireless advocate for bringing resources to the district that he represents. There's never been a time when the Housing Authority or McCormick Barron or the team here have called on his office and asked him for his support and guidance that he didn't take that call and deliver the goods. And so at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce my favorite congressman and yours, the Honorable Lacy Clay, 1st Congressional District.
Thank you so much, Sal, and good afternoon, everyone. You know, it is a pleasure to join with my good friend, Mayor Slay, Alderman Boyd, and my good friend, Senior Pastor, Michael Jones, to celebrate this truly remarkable achievement in the 22nd Ward. I'm especially proud of the Arlington Grove project because it included in the $32 million funding package a $10 million Competitive Recovery Act grant. Remember, media, get that, it was competitive bidding. And so we qualified for this project because we bid on it, and it was the right thing to do. And this award was awarded by HUD and administered by the St. Louis Housing Authority for projects just like this. When I was walking in, I remembered the school. The school 30 years ago was a polling place, and that was one of the first places in my first election. We had to man this poll. This neighborhood was a lot different then. But I am certainly grateful to Pastor Jones and the entire congregation of Friendly Temple for having a vision, for having the insight to know that they could turn this place into some place called home. And that's exactly what we have here today. And let me also congratulate McCormick Barron Salazar, the St. Louis Housing Authority, and KAI Design and Build for creating one of the greenest multi-unit developments in the country. This is one of the first federally supported multi-unit developments in the nation that will have solar panels and many other sustainable systems and material included in the design, besides the new construction. And I am so pleased that you were able to save and reutilize that beautiful school, Arlington School. And you know, to me, this is more than just a mixed-use project. It represents a new vision for this neighborhood, and it also shows how effective government and the private sector can be when we work together at the federal, state, and local levels to advance a shared mission to bring affordable and sustainable housing to North St. Louis. Finally, this is a real tribute to Pastor Jones and his congregation, who saw this project as an opportunity to spread Friendly Temple's holy mission by changing lives and transforming this neighborhood. And I am so proud to represent this neighborhood and others in the U.S. House. So congratulations, Friendly Temple. God bless you, and let's have a great ribbon cutting.
Thank you, Congressman Clay, and you must know that your colleagues who live in Washington, D.C. will be very disappointed tonight because the Cardinals are going to defeat the Nationals and move on to the next round. Because after all, you are the defending World Series champion congressman. As I said, developments like this take leadership at all levels. And here in the city of St. Louis, we have tremendous leadership. I remember years ago when I was first appointed to the St. Louis Housing Authority by then Mayor Clarence Harmon. He said, "Sal, all I ask is that you keep the Housing Authority out of the newspaper and off the TV." In those days, there were some dark days for the St. Louis Housing Authority at that point, because the agency lacked vision and effective leadership and resources. And so I was very blessed to be a part of tremendous change at the Housing Authority as I look out at former Housing Authority Chairwoman and current Alderwoman of the 19th Ward, Marlene Davis. Thank you for joining us, Alderwoman Davis. She and I and our colleagues at the Housing Authority worked very hard to change the direction of the agency, but none of that would have been possible if not for the leadership of our next speaker. At the local level, if you do development, you have to work with a number of organizations that have great acronyms as names. There's LRA, LCRA, CDA, and there are probably a few more that they're creating right now somewhere on Market Street for us to work with in the future. But it's easy to work with these organizations because they have an edict to support development, and the people who work for those organizations support development. They want to see great things happening. And so we're very lucky to have leadership at the mayor's office that displays that top-down style of leadership. And so it's been a number of developments that I've presided over that he and his office have been instrumental in, be it Renaissance Place or North Sarah or Cambridge Heights. And so he has been a friend to the St. Louis Housing Authority. He has been a friend to McCormick Barron Salazar and the team. And most of all, he's been a friend and leader to the city of St. Louis. And so at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the mayor of the city of St. Louis, the Honorable Francis Slay.
Well, thank you, Sal, and thank you, Sal, for all your leadership. I was proud to appoint Sal myself to the Housing Authority, and he did a great job in that position for the people of St. Louis. But it's great to be here with everyone today. This is a very good day, and it's really great that we're here with so many people celebrating it. There's a lot to celebrate. I was here for the groundbreaking, and at that time, this was just a plan on a piece of paper. And what we see here today is a spectacular display of quality development for quality, sustainable, affordable housing right here in the Wells Goodfellow neighborhood. And as a mayor of the city of St. Louis, this makes me proud. Proud of the people that worked together to help make this happen. Proud of those in the neighborhood that believed in this development, particularly Senior Pastor Jones and the Friendly Temple congregation, who have such a great commitment to this neighborhood and a wonderful reputation for making good things happen. Thank you so much, Senior Pastor Jones, for your leadership. But this did happen because of a wonderful partnership between the city and the federal government, the Housing Authority, my congressman and my favorite congressman, Congressman Lacy Clay, But let me tell you what else is important, and don't lose sight of this. You've got one outstanding alderman here. You've got one outstanding alderman in Alderman Jeffrey Boyd, who works tirelessly on behalf of this neighborhood and this ward, who's someone who has established a tremendous amount of credibility as far as the government agencies are concerned, as far as I'm concerned as mayor, and I'm proud to work with him, and certainly thrilled that he is a part of the Board of Aldermen, and not only provides leadership for this area, he does a great job in representing the city overall. So thank you, Jeffrey, for your great leadership. It's great to work with you. Cheryl Lovell with the Housing Authority, of course. I can't thank her enough and the entire board. I want to recognize a few people from the city of St. Louis. We participated in several respects with community development block grant money, with some home funds, with some other funds for street paving and other things that we did. We have Rodney Krim here, who's with the St. Louis Development Corporation for the city of St. Louis. Angela Morton Conley here with the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, who works with my administration as well. And Jill Clayborg with the Land Realization Authority, the CDA, Community Development Agency, and then all the people with St. Louis City Government. And of course, I know the Alderman's going to mention her, but I want to mention her too. Barbara Geisman, who used to work with my administration and provided great leadership. But I'm not going to talk too much. I just want to say how proud I am of the team we have in city government, a diverse group of individuals who care deeply about every neighborhood in the city, and we're willing to work with quality organizations and people like all of those represented here to make good things like this happen all over the city of St. Louis. And finally, McCormick, Barron, and Salazar and their team and KAI, very quality organizations that we're always pleased to work with well. Thank you so much. I see Mr. Barron here. I haven't seen him in a long time. Good to have you back in St. Louis and working with us. And this is a great day for all of St. Louis to celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Slay, and thanks again for your leadership in the city of St. Louis and your support of developments like this. We also have some other special guests here with us today. I know I saw Alderman Scott Ogilvie from the 24th Ward. Is Alderman Ogilvie here? There's Alderman Ogilvie. Thank you for coming. We also have the man who collects the revenue for us here in the city of St. Louis, the Honorable Gregory F.X. Daly. Mr. Daly. You know you have a worthwhile event if Mr. Daly is there. Amen? Looking as dapper as he wants to look as always. We also have Marion Campbell from the Missouri Housing Development Commission. Marion, please raise your hand. I remember Marion in her days at the St. Louis Housing Authority, so she definitely helped move things forward. We miss you, and we certainly appreciate the continued support that MHDC gives to developments like this. I also want to recognize Aaron Weisner from the Enterprise Community Partners. Is Aaron here yet? Aaron, let's give this man a round of applause. Enterprise Community Partners provided low-tech equity funds for this project. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what low-tech equity funds are, but they were necessary to build this beautiful development, amen? And so Aaron and his team at Enterprise Community Partners made it happen, but they didn't stop there. They wanted this event to be special for all of us here today. And so they made a special contribution towards this event, the tour, the reception following, and everything else to follow. So thanks again to you, Aaron, and your team at Enterprise Community Partners. And remember that they provide low-tech equity funds for development. I'd add that to my vocabulary so I can pretend I'm smart. Again, in keeping with leadership, we have another powerful friend in the Washington, D.C., in our nation's capital. And we're very lucky to have somebody here with us today who believes in grassroots leadership. She's been a supporter of the Housing Authority and McCormick Barron and the team in all of the projects that they have been associated with in St. Louis. She believes in good development, especially as it relates to minority participation on contracts and workforce. And it's just great to have a voice like hers in our community, working for a powerful United States Senator who loves the state of Missouri and mixed income development so much. And so at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Maddie Moore, Deputy Director, Office of United States Senator Claire McCaskill.
Thank you, Sal. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank you for inviting Senator McCaskill to Arlington Grove Project Ribbon Cutting. However, she regrets that she could not join you today, and as her Deputy Director, I am delighted to be here again to support the Arlington Grove on their development of ribbon cutting today. On behalf of Senator McCaskill, I would like to congratulate you on a successful completion of the first phase of the Arlington Grove Development Project. The Arlington Grove Development Project is the first EGC green design mixed income project in the country and the first for the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. This is the first step in revitalizing older and underused property into functional and accessible residential and commercial areas thanks to the funding provided by Capital Fund Recovery Competition Grant, a stimulus-related grant awarded by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development that helped pay for the $41 million development. This development adds to the community in many exciting ways. The use of green technology creates long-term sustainable buildings, helping to conserve resources and lower energy costs. The new commercial areas will help spur further economic growth, and the building's historical design contribute to the community's unique character. Upon its final completion, the community will surely enjoy all that this development has to offer. Lastly, on behalf of the Senator, I would like to thank all the organizers, partners, and individuals who have contributed in helping to make this project a success. Again, thank you for allowing me to participate in this event today, and may God bless each of you.
Thank you very much, Maddie. I also want to acknowledge and we want to congratulate you on recently having been elected as the chairwoman of the Democratic Central City Committee. She is the first African-American female to hold the post. Let's give her a round of applause. So you can also call her Madam Chair when you address her. As Mayor Slay said, we are in the mighty 22nd ward of the city of St. Louis. There are 28 wards in the city of St. Louis, but today the 22nd ward stands on top of the pile. I met this young man several years ago, and he impressed me with his conviction and commitment and dedication to community development, improvement, and in working with residents. He's been involved and experienced in all phases of community development, both as a head of a community development corporation and working in St. Louis County as a housing director. And he answered the call to serve his constituents as alderman. And I remember one day he said, I appreciate all of the development that's happening throughout the city of St. Louis, but I'm going to work hard to bring major development to my community. And at that point, he set forth on a journey that now has been realized in this beautiful $35 million development called Arlington Grove. He is a man who he embraced the development team. He got involved in all facets of the project. If one of the contractors didn't show up for work, he was ready to drive the Bobcat or hammer some nails or do some tuck pointing if it was necessary. That's how serious he was about seeing this project happen. When there was an advocate needed at City Hall or some legislation that needed to be passed to make this project a reality, he was there to make it happen. So he is the man who dared to have the vision, the commitment, and the drive to make this happen. And he is a great, great man who is deserving of all of the recognition that he will receive as a result of this transformative development for his community. So at this time, please join me in recognizing the powerful, the influential, the great, the legendary. I don't have enough words to describe it. The man who leads the 22nd Ward into greatness, the Honorable Jeffrey Boyd.
I don't know if I should speak or just sit down and cut my losses after all that. Man, did he raise the bar. But I would have to say, I'm allergic to labor, so you wouldn't see me tuck pointing or driving a bobcat, but I will be asking Mike Kennedy, where are they? Let's get them up there. Well, it's certainly a good day to be in the 22nd Ward and be amongst you celebrating. Welcome everybody who's never been to the 22nd Ward. We take pride in our community, and we're working tirelessly to make it a better community. You know, some of us remember when Arlington School, as the congressman reminded us, was an educational institution, a quality place for learning. Some of us remember that. Some of us remember quality housing that was all around this community and all the friends and families that we had around here that we had connections to. Some of us even remember when the MLK corridor was the shopping mecca of the St. Louis region. I'm here to tell you, we are working on bringing that back. You know, I ran for alderman about 10 years ago. And you know, oftentimes people complain about what's going on in their neighborhood. And I often tell my constituents, porch talk gets nothing done. We must stand up and do something about it. Therefore, I decided, rather than keep complaining about the conditions of my neighborhood and the environment, I decided that I would play a part, or like to play a part, in changing our community. So I ran for alderman 10 years ago with a commitment that I will work tirelessly on housing and economic development initiatives. My vision was to create a better living community for this area. This became a collective vision that was shared amongst all stakeholders, businesses, residents, and churches, and specifically Friendly Temple. As alderman, I couldn't have asked for a better pastor to have a relationship with all the great vision and insight that he has shown and seen in this community. Thank you, Pastor Jones. Phase one of this project is without a doubt a catalyst for more housing and economic development in this community. But to understand the magnitude of the excitement and enthusiasm that we share today, I want to give you a little bit of history, and I won't take too long. Sometimes it's important. We get to share in the glory of being elected officials, you know, having the leadership role, providing some vision, but a lot of that work is way below us. And I want to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. In 2004, along with the city planning department, Daphne Moore and Don Rowe worked tirelessly with our planning department to help build a framework of development for our neighborhood. Don Rowe, raise your hand. Where's Daphne Moore? Daphne Moore. And those of you who knows Daphne Moore, she's always trying to keep you on task. Sometimes I thought she was the alderman. So we created this framework, and then we put together a team, because we can't do anything by ourselves. And in 2004, the team became deacon joiner with Friendly Temple Missionary Baptist Church, Chevette Waynes with Hamilton Heights Neighborhood Organization, along with the planning department, and myself. In 2007, a conceptual plan was developed to provide more framework for development. And throughout this process, we went through several developers. I mean, this looks easy today, but it was very painful getting us here, but yet rewarding. In 2010, we finally put together that winning team, which included the City of St. Louis, leadership by Jill Claiborne, CDA, and Joe Fank. Again, Daphne Moore from the Planning Urban Design, the Kennedys with KAI, a wonderful staff with McCormick and Barron, Vince Bennett, Ron Roberts, St. Louis Housing Authority, TALK, Urban Strategies, Robert Fulton Development Corporation. A master plan was agreed upon, which helped us facilitate the beginning of the Arlington Grove project. But I would be remiss if I couldn't thank two very important people that believed in the vision that we had here to get this project started. You've heard the name before, but I want to again and thank from the bottom of my heart Barb Geisman. Where are you, Barb Geisman? Anybody who knows Barbara Geisman, tireless, workhorse, get it done, right now, Barb Geisman. And Cheryl Lovell with the St. Louis Housing Authority. Had it not been for them, because of the initial dollars that the St. Louis Housing Authority provided, and the energy that Barb Geisman and the leadership that she provided, we were able to take it to the next level. Now, in getting to the next level, there was one important person that I've enjoyed working with, Mr. Ron Roberts with McCormick Barron Salazar. Where's Ron? Ron, come up for a minute. I'm gonna bet, come on. Now, Ron Roberts, I don't know you guys if you really know Ron, but believe it or not, this guy I think is a genius. He's a brilliant young man who cares about development in this community. And I've had the great pleasure of working with him throughout this process. But Ron will probably tell you, when this bus started moving on this journey, I threw him under it. But you know what? He survived. And it made him a great project manager. We couldn't have done this without Ron as well. Ron was the nucleus of this project. Ron, I'm glad you recovered. You're a good brother. I've learned a lot. You know, the healing process takes time, but you're better. Okay? Now, Ron worked on numerous applications, tirelessly, just mountains of paperwork to make sure that we did get the stimulus grant that our president put before us. Great individual. I'm also proud to stand before you today to celebrate this major development that this community has not seen for 50 years. 50 years. And when we get, I'm gonna back up just a little bit. When we started this process, this beautiful school, Arlington School, people said, Jeffrey, tear it down. It's drug infested. It's prostitution coming up out of it. Our church members are afraid. Tear it down.
Yeah, I said it.
He said it, no, I did, he said it. But thank God I resisted. We decided to put that school on the National Historic Register because I said If they can redevelop all these other public schools that they've closed across this city, in South St. Louis and the Central Quarter and other places in the city, they can do this one right here in the hood, in the Double Deuce, in the 22nd Ward, in the city of St. Louis, right here in Wells Goodfellow. And guess what? They made it happen. Our dream became a reality. I want to thank all the individuals, organizations, and businesses that have truly brought this project to fruition. We could not have done this without everybody. Without everybody. But it started with a vision that was shared, a vision that went out to a lot of other people to get buy-in from, and we made it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Again, welcome to the 22nd Ward, the Arlington Grove.
Thank you very much, Alderman Boyd. He's normally so shy at these things. But there was a lot that needed to be said, and you can attest that this has been quite a journey. A lot of history created, a lot of memories. We have a few other special guests I'd like to acknowledge. I see State Representative Carla May here with us. Representative May. Thank you for your leadership. We also have Mike Kennedy Jr., the president of KAI Design Build, who served as the general contractor and architect this project. Stand up, Mike. Stand up. They need to see you. He'll get me for that after this is over with, but that's all right. A lot of resources went into this project, but perhaps, well, there's no doubt about it, the largest amount of resources that went in to support this came from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. I've said it before, they are the spring from which the St. Louis Housing Authority flows. Nothing happens with the St. Louis Housing Authority without HUD. And over the years, a close partnership has been developed between the two agencies. HUD is the grantor, St. Louis Housing Authority is the grantee. But the relationship is much more than that because they support the continued redevelopment of the city of St. Louis. And so at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mr. James Hurd, Field Office Director, Local Office of Housing and Urban Development. Mr. Hurd.
Thanks, Sal. Well, I am just so glad that I am on the Alderman's good side and I don't get thrown up under the bus. A lot has already been said and has already been stated, and I'm not going to reiterate a lot of those things, but it is a great day for the city of St. Louis. It is a great day for the residents of this community. It is a great day for all of the organizations that have been involved in this here project. It seemed like it was only yesterday when I came out here and we were shoveling some dirt and moving some dirt around, and there was a vision. How many of you know that a vision without provision, that means money, becomes quickly a nightmare? You know, and so we are proud at HUD to provide the provision as far as the dollars that it takes in order to make something like this happen. Congressman and Mayor, these type of projects take a collaborative effort. And without that collaborative effort, these projects just don't happen. Now, HUD invested $10 million into this project, but that is more than just investing the $10 million. Actually, the mayor's told me that we also invested community block grant funds. We also invested home funds. And so I believe that we have roughly about $12 million in this project. I believe you all should give us a hand for investing so much money. As Sal has already stated, it has been a great partnership between HUD and also the Housing Authority and the city. I would like to say it's been a real personal relationship for me because this project was almost dead in the water. We had issues and problems in our local head office where some wanted to stop this here project, but we started hearing from Cheryl, we started hearing from Jill, Barb, and we also started hearing, from our public housing department. Pat Strassner and her department they do a wonderful job. They're second to none across the country in making sure that our housing authority have everything that they need in order to survive and to excel. So Pat Strassner got involved. She pulled me into it. We went to Washington, D.C., and we fought for this project. We fought for the funding for this here project. We would not quit until the city and the housing authority received the $10 million to be able to complete this here project. And so I want to say to Pat, where's Pat? Come on, Pat, and her staff, all of the St. Louis staff, put your hands up. Come on now, don't be shy. They fight for the funding for these type of projects. And I believe that we have another one, right, Cheryl? We have another one pretty soon. North Sarah, we got 2 more. Cheryl said we have 2 more. All right, and so we're looking forward to other groundbreakings. I also want to say thanks to Andy. Andy Bodecker works in the regional office, and he is the public housing regional director, and he's the hub director, and he fought hard also for this here to be here now as a fruition, and it has come to pass. Once again, on behalf of the secretary regret that he couldn't be here. They gave me the notice to come out and speak, and he regret that he can't be here, but he wants to say congratulations to all of the partners. You have done a fantastic job, HUD is proud to be a part of this here whole development. And so I want to say individually to all of the organizations and the partners, McCormick Barron, KAI Design, Urban Strategies, Robert Fulton, my good friend, Pastor Jones. Pastor Jones and I went to the same seminary, and look at him now and look at me, so. He is a great friend. St. Louis City Housing Authority, as well as the St. Louis Head Office, congratulations once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd, and once again, thank you for the continued support of HUD. A few other elected officials I'd like to acknowledge. Of course, we're in the mighty 22nd Ward, and so I'd like to acknowledge the mighty committeeman of the 22nd Ward, the Honorable Andre Williams. Andre. We also have with us the Alderman of the 26th Ward, the Honorable Frank Williamson. Alderman Williamson. We also have a CEO in our midst. I believe I saw my good friend Malik Ahmed, the CEO of Better Family Life. Brother Malik and Deborah Ahmed is here as well. I think I saw the elusive Ken Hutchinson, the president of Talk, in the back. He's in the rear there, but had a major role in this project. Let's give him a hand. One of the things that Alderman Boyd was very serious about was minority participation on this project. He wanted to make sure that minorities had a tremendous role, both on the contract side and the workforce side. And Ken Hutchinson and his firm made that happen. So let's give Ken a hand again. Also in that fight is MOCAN, under the capable leadership of Yafet El-Amin. Is Yafet here? There's Sister Yafet. Thank you for your continued leadership as well. I missed my days at the Housing Authority, but when my time was up, I knew that the organization would continue to move onward and upward. As I said, when Mayor Harmon first appointed me to the Board of Commissioners, he said, keep the Housing Authority out of the paper. Well, under his leadership, the Housing Authority now makes headlines for developments like Arlington Grove and North Sarah. We began our relationship as fellow commissioners, but we've developed a friendship over time as I have really grown to appreciate his commitment to the city of St. Louis. He's also involved with other nonprofit organizations that do community development in other parts of the city of St. Louis. And so he volunteers his time, and he is an outstanding attorney, so he doesn't have much time, but he makes time to participate along with his colleagues as a commissioner of the St. Louis Housing Authority. So at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce my successor, who has done a terrific job. He is the current chairman of the St. Louis Housing Authority, Attorney Thomas Jerry.
Good afternoon, everybody. The first thing I want to do, what I usually do, is thank Sal for hosting these events. He does a great job. I want to thank him for his years of service to the Housing Authority as well. How about a big hand for my mentor, Sal Martinez? Well, it took us longer to get here than we thought it was going to take. But I think everybody will agree that it was well worth the wait, particularly when you consider that Arlington Grove provides much-needed housing and development to this area of St. Louis, and also because it preserves this William Ittner School, which is just a beautiful asset of our city. Just as a brief aside, I've lived across the street from an Ittner School for the past 30 years. And that building has had a profound impact on my neighborhood and on the residents of my neighborhood. I'm very confident that this rehabbed Arlington School is going to have a similar effect on this part of St. Louis. When I was preparing for this ceremony, my interest in Ittner schools led me to do a Google search on Ittner and Arlington. And strangely enough, I discovered an NPR article that was written back in 2009. I want to share part of this with you just to provide some perspective of where we are today. Okay, so this is from April 21st, 2009. The title is Historic St. Louis Schools Face Uncertain Future. And I'll paraphrase a bit in the interest of time. The city of St. Louis is trying to decide what will become of many of its historic school buildings and the neighborhoods that they anchor. Some of the schools were designed by architect William Ittner. His buildings from the late 19th and early 20th centuries dot St. Louis's landscape. Open floor plans, 15-foot ceilings, and hardwood floors are hallmarks of Ittner's designs. His concepts influenced the way schools were built around the country. Now the city is planning to sell 10 of Ittner's schools. 5 are already on the market, and 5 more are slated for closing as the St. Louis Public School District cuts back. Ittner's first project for the St. Louis School District, Arlington School, is one of those already up for sale. It was completed in 1898 and closed in 1994. After a decade and a half of neglect, its walls are collapsing and floorboards are cracked and warped. Brass lion heads that once decorated the roof's cornice have been hacked off. Despite the broken chalkboards and graffiti-covered walls, the rooms have a soothing character. On a recent visit, a representative of the St. Louis Landmarks Association noted 3 tall windows in one classroom. Even on an overcast day, he said, the room is bathed in a very beautiful natural light. The elegance of Ittner's buildings makes it easy to imagine them used in other ways. Some of his schools have found new life as senior living communities or loft-style apartments. Landmark's representative, however, says now is probably the worst time for the district to unload so many historic properties. And in reality, there are only a few city neighborhoods where loft-dwelling hipsters are likely to live. Not here, he says of Arlington School. You know, the way the neighborhood is, people can barely afford their rent, let alone pay some money for a loft. That sounds like a hopeless situation to me. And you may recall that that was the general attitude back in 2009. But thanks to all the organizations represented here today, we're celebrating this remarkable achievement. I want to say a personal thank you and a thank you on behalf of the Housing Authority to all of the partners that made this development a reality. And as usual, I want to specifically thank Cheryl Lovell, our Executive Director at the St. Louis Housing Authority, as well as Vince Bennett, the Chief Operating Officer Officer of McCormick Baron Salazar. It's their ongoing teamwork that continues to result in these great new developments. And we got to keep in mind that this is happening even in these difficult economic times. So thanks to all of you for attending today and celebrating with us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. You can tell he's an effective attorney because he was citing some history there. So if you're looking for a great attorney, look for Tom in the prestigious law firm of Spencer Fane, Britton Brown. We've come to know that you cannot rebuild a community through bricks and mortar alone. These beautiful homes are wonderful. They are changing the physical landscape of this community, but you must have supportive services for the young people in our community, like this beautiful child here, as they grow up so that they can become contributing members of the community. You also have to have programs for adults and seniors so that the community can be healthy. Otherwise, in 30 or 40 and 50 years, we'll have to restart this process because families have not benefited and moved forward. And so one of the leading agencies in our country that provides this type of supportive programming for residents who ultimately live in beautiful developments like this is Urban Strategies. And they are led by a tremendous leader who has shared her vision with other communities, as I said, all over the country. And I know Arlington Grove has a special place in her heart and in the hearts of her staff. And so, is Sandra Moore here? At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the president of Urban Strategies, Ms. Sandra Moore.
He didn't see me because I was late. And since I worship at Friendly Temple, I can look at my pastor and say, that's not unusual, right, Pastor? It gives me enormous pleasure to be here. I could start saying the honors to all the people at this podium, but I will not. Let me just say a few things. The first of which is these. Good things take time. Great things take time. They take partnership. They do take provision. They take passion, and they take commitment. And they take focus. And what we focus on is what we usually will commit our time, our passion, and our commitment to. In this case, from 2007, yes, Alderman Boyd, that was the year, when the first conversations about something exciting happening in the 22nd Ward, the focus was on people. I did arrive a little late, but I've heard a lot. And a lot of it has been around the things that support people. But I can tell you that from the very beginning, at the center of this was people. We got a small grant from the Enterprise Foundation to think about planning spaces that would eliminate homelessness and distress for low-income people. When we got that grant, one of the things that we were tasked to do was, and it was as a result of the city of St. Louis being at the cutting edge and finishing its 10-year plan to eliminate homelessness early, and getting that approved by HUD, and somehow they found us to come and figure out what to do with a small grant from Enterprise Foundation. And when we looked around to find places that were struggling with the challenges of homelessness, but also had the requisite leadership and commitment to make a change, we found the 22nd Ward. And we found Alderman Boyd. And his vision was big, 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 big. And he told me in no uncertain terms, don't talk to him about anything unless it was a big, 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 big vision. And I remember one day standing in his office, and he will remember this, calling Richard Barron on the phone and saying to him, Richard, you talk to him. And I gave Richard the phone to talk to him, but then the world changed. 2008 came. The economy was not so good anymore. I try not to pay attention to this. I look at my partners and leaders, Richard and Vincent, Tony and Kevin, and let them worry about money. I try not to. If you don't have any, you must not worry about it. And But I knew that financing something like this was becoming difficult. But Alderman Boyd wasn't altering his vision significantly, nor was he altering his commitment. And then he joined with a prayer partner, so we figured this thing was gonna happen. People are at the center, and every single moment of the planning, from all the nice people at Friendly Temple, the janitors who opened the building for the many community meetings, all of the people like you, residents sitting in this audience, who came to those meetings and thought long and hard and trusted us enough to dream again, because you'd heard about all the things that might happen. So you had to trust us long enough to dream again. To all of you, I want to say, you've always been at the center of this, from this great team of leadership. The City of St. Louis, all of the financing entities, the Housing Authority, Cheryl Lovell with her deep passion and quiet approach, Alderman Boyd with his relentlessness, this pastor, if I'm missing anybody, I don't intend to. Throughout the process, it has been about people. And I want to say a special thanks to the Urban Strategies team, especially our mighty little Shaughnessy Daniels, who has been relentless in supporting all of you as we move forward. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, Sandra, and thank you for the great work that Urban Strategies continues to do in our communities. So again, it's my pleasure to introduce the man who, not for his vision and commitment, Arlington Grove would not be a reality. Let us join Mr. Vincent Bennett.
Good afternoon. We could not be here without partnership, and I have to turn to the Congressman, Mayor Hudd, Pastor Jones, Housing Authority, and Alderman Boyd, but also partnership with the community. And I want to thank you for allowing us to be part of your family. I'm going to go back to 2009, and I was invited by your Alderman Boyd to a meeting in City Hall. And through the advocacy of Sandra Moore and Ron Roberts, they were selling the vision that the Alderman had. So I walked into the room, sat down. The Alderman looked at me and said, "Who are you? Why are you here? Your name's not McCormick, Barron, or Salazar." Do you remember that, Alderman? And he said, if you can't get McCormick, Barron, or Salazar, we're not going to get a job done. So I looked at him and I said, McCormick, Barron, Salazar, it runs through my veins. I've been with my partners for 20 years. So Alderman, I didn't have them in 2009, but I have McCormick, Barron, and Salazar here today. Stand up. Stand up. I got it. But seriously, it wasn't about me and the work that I did, but really it was about the McCormick Barron family, Ron Roberts, Adam Wall, Julie DeGraff, Ken Hutchinson. Where you at, Ken? Come up here. These are the young men and women who have worked on this project. They're city residents. They're our future. And these are, come on up here. As I think it's important, let's stand right there, because I'm going to say something in a second. It's these young men and women who not only live in this city, but believe in your neighborhoods. And it's because of them, and it's because of their vision the alderman's vision, the pastor's vision, the mayor's and the congressman's vision, what makes St. Louis great. It's a great place to be. And I want to thank all of the McCormick Barron staff, Aaron Swain, his team, LaShawna, for really working very hard. It comes so natural to them because we really believe in urban America. You know, the HUD funds, 10 million, was a piece of it. I also want to thank the Enterprise Community Investment Fund, $11.5 million that they invested in the most difficult financial period of our time. I mean, if you think about it, there was over $30 million invested in the first phase. And the Alderman, there are going to be more phases, correct? That's right. Yeah. I want you to think about some of these numbers. 79% of the budget, almost $21 million, went to minority women, Section 3 businesses. $21 million. Those are jobs and income coming into the community. Of the 250 new hires, 30% went to Section 3 labor and businesses. Ken Hutchinson is important. Come here, Ken. This young man worked every day to make sure that that happened. Come here. You stand right here. The alderman made sure that Ken worked with us to make that happen, and I just want to thank you, Ken.
No, thank you.
Because it's important for these dollars to go in the community, so thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. We talk about the bricks and mortar. There are other goals in terms of energy reduction. 25 to 40% of the savings from energy reduction are the target for this development through solar panels, energy green investments. But I also want to mention a young man who's also a city resident. Through him and his father's commitment to this project, they helped realize the investment, and that's Michael Kennedy. Please stand up, Mike. And it was their commitment and working hard with Ken and Yafet and others to really make sure that the dollars flow back in the community. So thank you, Mike. So my last comment is that we hope this is not the last phase. We look to do more. And I really want to thank you again for allowing us to be part of your family. Because as I told the alderman, we're not going to do this development and leave. We're going to be here for the next 30, 40, 50 years. And I just want to thank you again for allowing us to work with you. This is a replica of a gold plaque that we're going to place on the building that really dedicates the service of Alderman Boyd and the vision that he has for the community.
Okay, now I seem to be lost for words. I certainly want to appreciate, the recognition for the hard work that went into this project, but it's not about me. At the end of the day, it's always about the community. And I will continue to work tirelessly to make sure that this community grows, it prospers, and that they have the right leadership with the right integrity to make the right decisions because it's the right thing to do. And I appreciate this, Vince, tremendously. It's a great honor. And, man, just thank you. You all right with me?